You ever wonder what happens when Hollywood's biggest stars just get fed up? Well, it seems like a growing number of them are packing their bags and heading for an escape. But where they're going and what's happening there creates a really fascinating paradox. Let's get into it. Yeah, just listen to this quote from our main source for this, the YouTube channel WW Pro. They say, Hollywood celebrities are on the verge of collapse and now they're leaving. Wow. So this isn't just about a change of scenery. They're framing this as a full-blown escape. The big question is, where are they all going? All right, first up, let's talk about this European escape. We're going to unpack the celebrity exodus to the sunny coast of all places, Portugal. And look, this isn't just some internet rumor. The Hollywood Reporter has been documenting this. They're talking about a significant wave of producers, power couples, and bona fide stars selling off their homes in the States to start over in Europe. It's actually become a noticeable trend in the industry. So who are we talking about? Well, the list is pretty wild. You've got Nicole Kidman, Scarlett Johansson, Michael Fassbender, and Alicia Vikander. They've all reportedly applied for residency in Portugal. And they're joining people like Madonna and John Malkovich, who've already set up shop there. That's some serious star power. So this brings us to the next big question. Why Portugal? Is it really the perfect paradise? Let's break down exactly what makes it such a magnet for the rich and famous. So what is the big appeal here? Well, it seems to be a combination of things, really. A little bit of a push out of the US and a whole lot of pull towards Portugal. So on the push side, the Hollywood Reporter mentions everything from Trump overload to fire fatigue. But what's pulling them in? Well, you've got the incredible scenery, a much more relaxed pace of life, and, get this, what's described as blissfully calm politics. Remember that phrase. And, of course, there is a huge financial reason. Just look at this number, 947 euros. According to one source, that's the annual property tax for a 4-bedroom dream home with an ocean view. I mean, when you compare that to California, you can definitely see the appeal. Producer Ben Silverman puts it pretty bluntly, calling it the Hamptons of Europe. So let's be clear, this isn't just some quiet little getaway town anymore. It's become the trendy hotspot for the global elite. But this is where the story takes a really interesting turn. Let's talk about a sudden political shift. Because that whole idea of blissfully calm politics, well, that's about to get complicated. Yet let's go back to that idea. The perception of Portugal as this super stable, left-leaning haven, it's being seriously challenged by what's happening on the ground politically. And this is the real paradox at the heart of this whole thing. To get what's going on, we're going to look at a different source, a report from the Atlantic Council that came out in May of 2024. And believe me, it paints a very, very different picture of Portugal's political climate right now. The report describes what it calls a historic rightward shift in the country. After some recent elections, Portugal's entire political landscape has started to fundamentally change, moving away from the socialist government that had been in place for years. This chart here kind of breaks it all down. You can see the center-right alliance came out on top. The Socialist Party, which was in power, lost a ton of ground. And maybe the biggest shock of all, a far-right party saw this massive surge in support. The bottom line is the country these celebrities are moving to is becoming way more conservative. And that brings us to our final section, the accusation of hypocrisy. This is where our first source, WWD Pro, connects this whole celebrity move directly to that political shift we were just talking about. The host over at WDB Pro basically argues that all these stars, many of whom are super vocal about their progressive politics back in the States, are now ironically fleeing to a country that is moving in the exact opposite direction. And this table here really lays out the alleged contradiction. On one hand, you have their public stances, supporting socialist policies, denouncing conservative states, advocating for high taxes. But then on the other hand, you have their private actions, seeking out low tax havens and moving to a country that is shifting to the right. This is the core of the hypocrisy that the WDBU Pro source is highlighting. And this quote from a contributor on that channel just sums up their entire argument. They want these socialist policies applied to everybody else except themselves. I mean, that's a pretty heavy charge, right? The claim is that they're advocating for a system that they, themselves, are actively choosing not to live in. So what are we supposed to make of all of this? Are these celebrities just looking for a better quality of life, quieter, more affordable, something anyone would want? Or does their choice to move to a low-tax, increasingly conservative country expose a deep contradiction between their public values and their private decisions? We'll leave you with that question to think about.